Hi, welcome back. As promised, we have another expert joining us. Motilal Oswal has released its latest wealth creation study. The study covers the 2013 to 2018 period, during which over 44 trillion rupees of wealth has been created. For the first time ever, HDFC Bank has emerged as the biggest wealth creator. The fastest is Indiabulls Ventures, and the most consistent remains Titan. Raamdeo Agrawal, the co-founder of Motilal Oswal Financial Services and the author of this report, joins in. Raamdeo, good morning. Happy Diwali to you and your entire team in advance. It's not going to be such a great Diwali this year compared to what we saw last year. I mean, given the kind of fall in the markets, do you think the worst is over?
It looks, I mean, we have a quite massive correction. So hopefully we are done with current round of correction. But you know, the way things are unfolding, particularly in the credit market, and credit market is backbone of economy, in the sense that from the consumer side, that has been the one strong segment, and now we are seeing an L&T result. At least the infra and capital goods side is picking up. Now both should go together to really take the economy off after a long time.
You know, to take from what Sonia asked you, logically you should be happier this Diwali than last year. I expected you to say, because last time things were expensive. Now things are available, I would think fair value. But you tell me, you don't look at it that way?
What you said is perfect, that it is far more reasonable right now, but see, the reasonableness is also a function of what is going to happen to the earnings growth. So and earnings growth is slightly challenged right now because of whatever is happening in the economy.
Because of the credit market.
Credit flow, I mean the smooth credit flow, because everybody is pulling out. I mean, even if somebody is not in trouble,
I've not seen any improvement in banks lending.
No, banks is the only segment, but in banks also you got so many banks which are in PC and all. So they are restricted. Almost, as we are discussing, 40-50% of the branches are, I mean, that's the distribution of the credit, you know, vending kind of points. So if that is stopped, then NBFC were the other alternative, which was vibrant and very aggressive. Now that segment is struggling right now for the equity and finally the debt.
It's still struggling. I mean, about a week back, we spoke to a couple of NBFC industry people, and they said that things have improved compared to what we saw when the crisis began.
No, I'm not saying that there is any solvency issue or anything like that, but still that caution will be there. Caution will be there. So, and the valuations are corrected so much that what happens is that first market takes the equity power. So, if your valuation goes to one book or around one half book or something, you cannot actually issue equity.
More equity.
And if you cannot issue more equity, see, these are all 15-17% ROE companies, and in fact that is the centerpiece of the study. If your ROE is low, then the growth has no value creation, or growth requires a lot of capex. So you know, I mean, and 15% machine, if you want to grow at 30%, how do you do it? You need a lot of capital, and that is mix of equity and debt. Now, if the market is not giving you equity, how will you create the debt? And if you don't have raw material, which is called money, how do you you know, dispense the credit? So, kind of it is very important that this particular thing is taken care of, because it has a lot of repercussions on other parts of the economy. One is the financials. Second is that what happens to automobile. Entire automobile is financed, and if you don't take care of that.
I want to come to you know, the key presentation of your wealth generation study, but before that, just one more macro question. Yesterday the markets were kind of you know, when this big tussle of RBI versus government and if you know, even fears that the governor will resign was in the air, we didn't see the market sulk much, but then it seemed to be falling by about 10:30, and then of course that statement came, and there was would it have been a very big problem if the government had not sorted it out?
Obviously, I mean what I was hearing is that you know, the relations are not cordial, and I mean, see, managing the economy, credit flow in the economy.
Foreigners call you and say, "Kya ho raha hai?"
Yeah, of course. I mean, that is the main issue. I mean, foreigners, they own 20% of the market, and they are concerned with this kind of things very, very badly. So we have to handle this very carefully, and it is also good for the economy that this kind of disruptions are not there. But at the same time, even the regulators and I mean government's own compulsion of seeing to it that, because ultimately bill has to be put by the government. Finally, if even whether it is a private sector lender, the bill is actually going to Mr. Jaitley. So he has to be a little more concerned about this thing. So I mean, ultimately management of the economy is joint effort. It's not by one or other. Policy matters is one thing, but really seeing to it that credit flows and there is no fear. People are, I mean, one side we have today is a great day when the ease of doing business has come down to 77. I mean, it's such a refreshing news that from 140 or something 4 years back, continuously they have worked to make it
77.
Ease of doing to 77.
Okay, so let's talk about the wealth creation study now. What is the key takeaway from an investor standpoint?
Yeah, so one of the first thing is that what are the value drivers? You know, in valuation is something which is evolving thing. I mean, like in 50s, people wanted more of a equity yield than bond yield. In 50s, if bond yield was at 7%, you wanted equity dividend yield to be 8-9% because the fear of recession was so high. Then from there, people started looking, okay, the companies are not giving out all the money by way of dividend, and hence start looking at earnings growth. So earnings growth became the second way of looking at things. Then they realized, when Buffett and Manjar came, they said, don't look at earnings growth only, look at the cash flow. Because ultimately, low quality companies growing faster is no big deal. Look at the owner's cash flow, which is the free cash flow basically. That's the, even Buffett himself was a student of Benjamin Graham, and he was wanting only the low price and not so much quality of the companies.
Okay.
Manjar brought it. So what is right, what is a valuation, what is a undervalued, it's the concept itself is evolving. Even today it is evolving.
Okay.
So if you see the valuations of Amazon, Uber, so Buffett said 3 years back that somebody asked